Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sunburnt Podcast. This is my co-host, the richest comedian on the globe, Chip Chantry.
And this is the second richest comedian on the globe, Mr. Thomas O'Brien. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing unbelievable, and I'm going to get things started off right today. Putting on a little Hawaiian tropic sunscreen, not for the bright lights in here, but for the sense memory. Ooh, I love to do this almost every day, Chip. Just get a little hit of Hawaii in the nostrils before we start something big.
I like to get a little hit of Colombia in the nostrils before we get started, but that's neither here nor there.
Ooh, that sounds like an Escobar.
Oh, Escobar, baby. Okay. There are certain scents that just drive me wild. And that just summertime, just the first lawn mowing of the year, that first charcoal grill, and man, getting a little sunblock, a little suntan lotion smell is just, man, that is summertime. I'm going to start doing that too. What is the brand here? What is the make and model that we're doing with here? Hawaiian Tropic what?
Yeah, this is Hawaiian Tropic. It's a sheer touch, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
And it's just, I think it's their basic, but it's the first sunscreen I ever wore when I went to Hawaii. It was like the smell of that whole trip. And ever since then, I mean, you even know it, like in writers' rooms, like I would save everybody the theatrics I just did by putting on in front of people, but I would wear it every day, rain or shine. And I don't know, it just puts me in a good space mentally. I love the smell of it.
Love it, baby. Love it. And we're going to be wearing plenty of that this November.
Yeah, this is the Sunburnt Podcast. We love tropical vacations and comedy. So we're putting those two things together. This is a podcast leading up to Chip Chantry's Thanksgiving in Paradise, the very beginning of what could be a larger comedy festival in Waikiki this Thanksgiving week, Chip.
And you're coming with us. This may sound crazy. You're like, wait, I'm watching two guys on a podcast and I'm going to go to Hawaii with them? Yes. Is this a kidnapping situation? No. Is this a cult? Maybe. But basically what we're doing is we are doing a comedy show in Hawaii. But it's not just for the comedy show. We want to get to know people who are listening to us, share our same likes, and come out and just work hard all this year, celebrate this Thanksgiving week in Hawaii with us.
Yeah, we're looking for people like us, and if that's you, stay tuned. Front desk.
Hi, this is Mr. Chantry in room 308. I was wondering if there were any messages for me.
I don't see any messages for Mr. Chantry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any messages for the Emerald Falcon?
Oh, yeah, there's actually a bunch, and it looks like you might be very sick.
I am.
Chip, we are back. It is episode 6. This thing is going to the moon, baby. People are watching. They're commenting. How exciting.
I am just numb with pleasure and fear. I'm just stunned. I can't move. I haven't left my house in about a week. It's just the mail that comes, the people sitting out on my sidewalk, just holding rallies for me. It really is. It's life-changing, and I can't believe two little boys' dreams have all come true.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have been pretty public with your home address, so I do encourage people to leave Mr. Chantry alone at home.
If you
can. But the response has been great, and I just love how much it's resonating right now. That people want something to look forward to, and like the idea of putting comedy, putting tropical vacations together.
It's just a mishmash of our favorite things.
It really is.
Like if there was a third, what would the third thing be? Like tropical vacations, comedy. Mm-hmm. Like I don't even know. Just like monkeys that smoke cigars. Like I guess that is. Old timey bicycles with the one big wheel. Like I feel like that would be on there maybe. I don't know what the third thing would be.
It would have to be something bit like these are just two passions that we've shared and had for a long time. So, I don't know what they would be. Maybe our relationships, friends. You know what, Chip? I will say this about you and me: community, buddy.
There it is.
And I think that's the third thing we're mixing in here is we're welcoming in people that are like us that have the the same set of likes and ambitions.
So that's you. I'm pointing to you, the listener, the viewer at home, depending on how you're taking this in. And we want to thank you for watching and listening. It is very interesting. I'm very excited to see who's watching this and who's listening to this. Mm-hmm. I got a text from my brother yesterday, and he was like, "Hey, you have to watch this podcast." And then I said, "Oh, I actually listened to it yesterday." Two different things, but we're still taking in the same thing. But the world is changing. There's going to be a third way. Speaking of third things, there's going to be a third way to take podcasts in pretty soon. With AI, it's not just going to be sight and sound. There's going to be feel. There's going to be taste.
I mean, some absorption, I think.
I mean, you just put on some sunscreen. I mean, we're going to be able to smell that at some point. With that technology, that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think you'll be able to smell it at home, too, if you just want to get a wonderful bottle of Hawaiian Tropic, Chip.
And this is not a product placement. They're not our sponsor yet. But I'm going to get some Hawaiian Tropic. Just to put it on, like dabble it under the nose even just a little bit, just to sniff it in, getting that vibe every day. We're sitting on the beach, buddy. We're sipping a Mai Tai, watching those hula girls like Greg Brady does. We're gonna get into that in a little bit. Man.
Yeah, we are going to talk about season 4, episode 2 of the Brady Bunch today. It's the second in their trilogy of Hawaii episodes. I've never seen them before. Chip has seen them apparently 100 to 200 times each.
Yes.
But it's informed a lot of how he views Hawaii, and just watching it has been so much fun for me.
Yeah. By the way, I was having dinner with my wife last night, as I do. Yeah. As I do. Oh, yeah. I was actually, this is not product placement either. This is not a commercial. But I was actually having dinner at your favorite restaurant in Philadelphia.
Ooh.
Barrels.
Wow.
Kim and I were at Barrels. We were the only ones in the restaurant until the very end when another couple of ladies came in. Great Italian restaurant in Philly. Massive takeout, just like crazy takeout that they do. There's this little dining room in the back that you've been to, Thomas.
Yeah.
That like nobody really knows about or just forgets that it's there. And you can just go bring a bottle or two of wine, have some great Italian food. And we sat there for the entire meal besides the last 4 minutes, completely on our own. We had the place to ourselves, and it's great food. And so we were sitting there having and that's the place where you told us your story of the last time you were in Hawaii, a great tale. And the topic came up that we were doing the Brady Bunch and that you've never seen it. Kim was aghast that you had never seen this. And she even admits, she's like, I know I'm not the biggest pop culture person, her being her. And she's like, but when I heard that Thomas didn't see the Brady Bunch, like she was just jaw dropped. But hey, that's all right. You're getting up to speed, and I appreciate that about you. You're making life changes. You're taking strides in 2025. You're watching the Brady Bunch, a 55-year-old television series, and we're coming up to so last episode we talked about episode 1 when they were Hawaii bound. Mike got the of course he got the job in Hawaii. They flew the whole family out. And they get to Hawaii. They find the little tiki doll, the taboo, if you will, and some weird stuff starts happening to him. There's some bad luck happening, culminating with the G-Man, Greg, him taking a vicious wipeout on his surfboard.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's jump into it. I got a couple of notes here, but so we talked last episode about Hawaii Bound season 4 episode 1 being completely unavailable.
Yeah. Scrubbed from the internet.
Yeah, it's unavailable, so we had to watch like a very low quality kind of whatever version we could find. The sound was terrible. The visuals weren't much better.
But this is the work that we do for you people out there in podcast land. We are doing the difficult work. We are searching for a back episode of the Brady Bunch, sitting down and watching it. We are watching it till our fingers are to the bone. Go ahead.
It was not easy to find, but I will say that watching the recap of last episode at the beginning of this one on Paramount Plus on a big TV with like a nice picture, you truly see how harrowing that surfboard crash really was. It looked like he banged his noggin right on a rock.
On some rocks. I know. That's the thing. I don't know if it was just seaweed or rocks, but I always read it as rocks growing up, and that's what I think it was. So, he took a dive. And so, by the way, if you're following along at home and you can't find episode 1, it's like we found a little episode, but just watch episode 2. They recap it pretty well.
I will say that Episode 1 had a lot more things that spoke to my heart in terms of being excited about Hawaii.
Don Ho.
It's got Don Ho. It's got beaches. It's got viewpoints. It's got the Royal Palace. It's got a statue of King Kamehameha.
Yes.
It's really got a lot of things that you probably would see if you wanted to go there and sightsee now. This is 50 years later. But boy, did Greg really take a heater to the head, it seems.
Yeah.
And it was a very, very unexpected ending to a very, mild episode. It was just, we thought this kid was dead.
Yeah.
And we pick up right where we left off.
And as somebody who's never seen the Brady Bunch, there's not a lot of dead kid episodes. Like, let me just say that. Like, maybe Tiger the dog goes missing. Somebody sad because somebody said they had a lisp, or there's a funny mix-up. This is not the type of show, Thomas, where people die. I mean, it's not. It just doesn't happen. So this was very dramatic for this series. Like,
it's a very special episode.
We're 4 seasons in, and the eldest child, the firstborn, might be dead in the water, literally. And by the way, that narrator.
Ooh.
Just watch episode 2. The narrator at the beginning of he has nothing to do with the series. You never hear a narrator on any other episode. This is not some sort of Ron Howard in Arrested Development thing. So it's not like but they brought in some big gun with some deep 60s, early 70s voice, and just voiced the hell out of that just to make it a little act like that deep voice.
Yeah, no, I think it's the guy. I'm willing to bet it's the same one. I have seen the opening to Dragnet, and I'm willing to bet it. It's like a similar tone. If not, if you can't get that guy, this is the guy you go to.
Yes.
To replicate that sound.
There's a guy too, and it wasn't him, but there's that guy, the In a World guy.
Oh yeah.
The movie guy, and I want to say his name. It was because in the 70s, his name was it's something like Percy something. Do you know who I'm talking about? It's
I know.
Percy something, but he's the guy who I think did the Jaws, my favorite movie, the Jaws theme, and the just be afraid to be in the water, like that. But that's how dramatic this episode beginning was, with Greg just falling off that surfboard.
Yeah, no, he took it, and in that higher quality, what is clearly just old school standard definition, but much better than what we saw before.
Yes,
it really looks like he took it. So I got a heightened sense of drama watching that back, and then we quickly cut to the family dealing with Greg being potentially have just died.
Yes,
and we get him to the beach. And every time this young man shows a sign of being concussed, seriously injured, that's when we get that laugh track, baby.
The laugh track comes out hard. He's like, oh no, I can walk to the car, and then he starts walking towards the water.
He walked right into the ocean. Big laugh.
Hijinks ensues, and it was amazing how that. I would love to do a deep dive into the history of canned laughter, and because there are certain times where it's just thrown in completely inappropriately. Actually, and on the other end of that, so the Brady Bunch, give you a quick lesson. It went from I want to say 1969 until about 74, and then it was over. And then the Bradys did they got in that whole vibe of the variety show. It's like the Brady Variety Hour, where they song and dance stuff, where all of the kids came back except for, I want to say, Jan. She was like, no, I'm a serious actress. I'm out of here. And they got a new Jan. And they did that for a while. And then
it was like a reality show, a hosted.
No, like a Sonny and Cher,
okay. So they were
they're singing and dancing on stage,
doing little skits,
wearing doing the disco version of I'm proud to be an American or whatever, like that type of, like let's try to bring in I'm sure Star Wars, maybe if they made it that far. I can't remember if they made it 77 or not, but like it was a short-lived thing, but they did a couple episodes and, they did song and dance, a lot of LeMay and a lot of, sequins and just, that type of thing. So they did that. But then in the 80s, I think it was like a couple of maybe like TV specials they did where it was like the Brady Brides, I think, where like all three daughters, of course, got married at the same time, I think, or whatever that was, And then in the late 80s, they brought it back. I think it was called The Bradys. And it was like a 1 hour, like, I guess you would call it a dramedy, like maybe like soap opera kind of like, but dramatic, but shot on film. The first one was shot on film, but no laugh track. And and they started it out by, and I'm going to admit, it is a watch that I watch every Christmas. It's from like 87, 88, 89, A Very Brady Christmas. Okay. A Very Brady Christmas.
Sounds nice. Sounds light.
Right. And so they're now empty nesters, but all of the kids, they decide to fly all the kids back for Christmas. And most of them are married. Some of them have kids. And they bring Alice back. That's a whole thing. Alice comes back too, to be their indentured servant. And then, but at some point we will watch this episode because you can see it's on some sort of streaming thing, but it's like it's like a 2-hour TV movie or an hour and a half TV movie. And it's shot without a laugh track, but they still try to do, it's the same writing.
Yeah.
And like, about that, like Tom, like you've been a TV writer and a producer for years. Like there's pacing things and ways you write jokes, and certain jokes work on certain shows, but certain, and it's just like Carol trying to figure out what Mike got her for Christmas, being zany, being vapid, and saying a cute little thing, but there's just no laugh track. So it just seems like a crazed old lady with her husband just dealing with her early onset dementia. Like, I mean, that's what the first 20 minutes of A Very Brady Christmas is, and it's beautiful.
I mean, that really does sound wild. Yeah, you gotta treat that show completely different than another one. Have you ever seen? It was a clip that went around a while ago. It's when The Big Bang Theory was happening. Okay, but like somebody stripped out the laugh track.
Yes, I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's truly like what are we even watching here?
And that's what we watched for a good part of our childhoods. Like, it's just like a taser, like a bear in a cage. Like now, like get the whip out. Like this is when you laugh. Bzz, this is it.
Yeah. No, it's a mechanism for getting away with things that are paced like jokes and sound like jokes, but boy, might not really be jokes. And every once in a while on some of the shows we used to do, you knew it was heading in a bad direction if somebody from the network was like, so we're thinking about before this goes to air, maybe we sweeten it with a laugh track.
Yeah, that is
sweeten it. An audio sweetening with a laugh. That is the kiss of death. You're like, wow, there really is nothing here.
The death knell, yeah.
Yeah. So it would be, but this one is like especially aggressive because it's not in a studio audience. Like, there's nobody there laughing. And I don't know if the regular Brady Bunch was on a set where they did have people watching.
On a set, but I'm 99% sure there was no studio audience. It was just,
And they just piped in. They just piped in the laughs.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. A different time. But yeah, it's funny. It's like I can see it with my daughter. Like we were watching a stand-up special the other day. Bill Burr's new special.
Yeah.
And just when she hears people clapping and laughing, she claps and laughs. She's not watching the TV. She has no idea what's going on. It's just like built into us at like a human level.
Yeah, it's Pavlov, man. Just
we're little fun monkeys with jobs, dude.
Yeah, and we all enjoy the same thing at the same exact moment. Mind control, baby. That's how they're getting us.
It does help. I mean, you've been in a club when rooms are hot, they're gonna laugh at anything.
Yeah, it's because it is that group think of like just you get 200 strangers in a room, but then they connect somehow and they're all together laughing at the same thing. You can say anything and they laugh, and it really is crazy how that can happen. And then there's also the opposite effect where like they will decidedly not laugh at anything. Like it just gets awkward. So then they, even if something is funny, they just like, boom, you know.
Oh yeah.
I've seen those moments too. It's just where like something just goes weird and like they just decide that like, yeah, we don't do this anymore.
Yeah. But hearing that laughter, that's what keys you in socially, that it's okay to laugh. And they're bringing that to your house.
Especially when it is a concussed teenage boy.
Yeah,
on a beach, in a foreign, not a foreign, but a distant land.
That is something else that like, it's like when things could be, because the TV people, they're always worried about things turning audience members off.
Right.
And like they could have, like, I can very distinctly see a meeting where somebody was just like, hey, listen, when Greg hits his head, it's kind of out of nowhere. The episode's been lighthearted. It's been fun.
There's a chance that they maybe got some hate mail that week. Do you know what I mean? Before the next episode goes out, like there could even be a situation where they're like, "Oh my God, my daughter was traumatized because she thinks Greg is dead," and then they have the next episode, and they're like, "We need to throw a laugh in here."
Yeah,
even though they've already shot it, it's already been edited, but they're like, "He might die, so hey, let's giggle a little bit."
Yeah, and it's a laugh track, or like, you know, they use music in this show actually pretty well, I think. Mm-hmm. Or in the wackiest version of it, and they used a couple of these in the show too, is sound effects. Like you can put a cartoonish sound effect over something horrific, and it just feels like you're probably watching a cartoon. Yeah. It takes away that real sting of it. And I can't imagine this is a show that, like, you know, features, you know, I'm guessing Cindy's like 5, 6 in these things.
Probably somewhere around there. Yeah, that's when she started.
It's a show. It's a show for the whole family.
Oh, it's a children's. Yeah.
So they're trying to soften some of that stuff. So I get it, but just like watching back, knowing what we know about like traumatic head injuries, it is, and they're also like are very careful to be like, oh my gosh, this injury is so bad, but you can only see it from back here.
Right. Yeah, they're just like,
it's
oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, they're just
Doctor.
like, you're seeing him face straight at camera, and then people are behind him looking like, ooh, that looks really rough. But you know what it didn't knock out of him, Chip?
I have an idea. Go ahead.
It didn't knock the horniness out of this young man.
No, his horniness is still at an 11. He just doesn't take a break. His hormones are just coursing through his veins.
Yeah.
It's like the next scene, like, we're going to take him to the doctor at the hotel. He's still wet and just like, you know, cold and shaken and concussed. I think it's the next scene where he's like, I want to go look at some chicks. Like, he bounces back pretty quickly.
He's bikini hunting.
Yeah.
And I think it's genetic because his dad is horny as well.
Another
always
hornball.
Horny.
Always. Yeah. Yeah.
Always be horny.
Yep.
ABH, baby. So they're leaving the beach. Alice puts Jan on duty for like cleaning up the area. Make sure we have everything.
Here's the thing about Jan. Jan just gets shit on constantly. that's her MO. She is the put upon sister, the middle child.
I was looking at this. She has really no other function in any of the episodes, and her big story point is the maid whose job it is to clean up says, Jan, why don't you do my job?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
And Jan's like, all right. But she finds the taboo. And she brings it back. And to keep that thread going. And yeah, Greg, the second he gets out of the doctor's office, goes back to the beach where he is lying to a young woman, saying he's a local, and weaseling his way into getting his hands on her, his grubby, horny hands on her to get some suntan lotion going. And his brothers show up, spoil his fun. And then it somehow ends up with all three boys oiling up this stranger to them, this young lady.
Yep.
And the young lady is loving it. She says, "Wow, this is island hospitality." That's assault, brother.
It is. It was 100% as assault. And here's something interesting, Thomas.
Yep.
You brought that up. I heard you talk about that. And that scene was not in the, I think it's Pluto TV or whatever the streamer that I watch. You see Greg on the beach. You see him looking at the young blonde gal in the bikini. And then it just cuts to the next scene.
Wow.
So they cut that one out because it is 3 young boys slathering sunscreen on a girl in a bikini who did not necessarily ask for it. But I did go back and watch. So I found it on YouTube. I found just that scene on YouTube or somewhere and got to watch all the gory details.
It was a little shocking to see, but also not too separated from some of the disturbing scenes on I don't know if you're watching it or not, but this season's White Lotus has some familial, uncomfortable, lotiony, handsy scenes.
Okay, I've not seen it yet. I have not watched it yet, so no.
I think the Bradys, in a strange way, might be a precursor to some of the most uncomfortable television ever made.
So you're saying White Lotus is a direct descendant of the Brady Bunch? You're putting it on?
It's basically the Brady Bunch without a laugh track.
See, I'm sold. Now I'm watching it. Now I'm 100% watching it.
Perfect. So, to keep it moving, the boys are getting horny with that teen, and the girls head over to a picnic at a different beach.
Yeah.
This is where we see the taboo as power rear its head once again.
Do its magic.
And just one of the biggest spiders I've ever seen. I think it's a tarantula. Mm-hmm. Crawls into Jan's bag where the taboo is, and now she's bringing a tarantula along for the ride for the rest of the day.
And I just love how I think it's like 7 times somebody's like, "Jan, can I have something from your bag?"
Yeah.
And she goes to reach in, and then somebody else just cuts Jan off too. They're like, "No, I got it. Here's my camera. Here's my handkerchief. Here's whatever." Yeah. But they still go to her, and she just digs into that bag every time and just misses that tarantula.
It's so funny because I saw one of these clips. I saw a clip of the first time, like it's they're looking through a viewfinder and somebody needs to wipe the lens.
Right, yeah.
So I saw that clip out of context, and I thought it was just like, oh, this girl's useless, because they're like, can somebody get me a tissue? And she's like, yeah, I'll get you a tissue. And then the mom's like, never mind, I've got a tissue.
Yep.
Knock it off, Jan. And I was just like, oh, they're showing that this... I was like, are they showing that this girl's unappreciated, that she's feeling bad? Like, I didn't know that. I didn't see the spider. And now that I see it, I'm just like, okay, yeah, she is useless. But thank goodness in this case, because she'd be touching a spider if she had some functionality here.
And this is as somebody who's worked in television for years, Thomas, you know this, that they were actually a lot more forgiving in the early 70s. There are certain things you can't say nowadays, one of them being the F word. They would just say, and hold your ears, listeners, but they would just say, it just throughout the entire series, at least once an episode, "Fuck off, Jan." And they would just say that to her and just be like, she's like, "Hey, I brought the rolls in for dinner." And they're like, "Fuck off, Jan." And then and she runs out crying. That's again, and then cue laugh track. That's how most episodes end. Like, they're like, "Oh, Bobby won the soapbox derby," and everybody's like, "Yeah," and Jan's like, "Congratulations, Bobby," and they just all turn in unison and just yell, "Fuck off, Jan," and then she just quietly walks out off scene, and you just hear a huge laugh track, cue the applause, and credits.
And you say this actress didn't want to come back for the subsequent.
Yeah, you wonder why. And by the way, I will say, I think it's usually a different girl. I think the guys have always come back. There's never been like a fake Peter or a fake whatever. But Jan didn't come back for that. Cindy didn't come back for the Very Brady Christmas and like that iteration. And then I think there was something where Marcia didn't come back for. So yeah. So the gals all had their own moment of like, we're out.
Just the guys are having more fun in this show, at least in Hawaii.
Yes. Yeah, they really are.
It's like the boys are out there just feeling up tourists, and the girls are having spider picnics with mom and the maid.
Yeah. Spider picnics, that's the episode. That's the title of this episode, by the way. Spider picnics. Great. By the way, Spider Picnics, my favorite by far is Spider Picnics. My favorite Wilco album.
It's very relatable. So I did a little bit of research, and tarantula. I mean, this is horse. Tarantulas are not native at all to Hawaii. There's no population there, and it's actually even illegal to bring one to Hawaii. So this was all staged. They don't have like a dangerous or intimidating spider population at all. It's one of the nicest things. There are, however, a handful of black widows.
Okay.
And that's kind of it in terms of.
Okay, I thought. Okay, here's my ignorance, because I spent a lot of time as a child watching the Brady Bunch, not studying science.
Yeah.
What is a black widow? That's not a spider?
No, black widow is a spider.
It is
so
a spider. Okay.
Black widow. It has like a little red hourglass on the tum.
Oh, right. Yeah. But it is a spider, though, right?
No, it's a spider.
Yeah.
It's poisonous, and I was surprised to see that they were there. But like, especially in dry areas, there has been like a breed of black widow that has taken hold and got some kind of resilience on the islands there.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like there's not a lot of things that'll get you there. There's not a lot of poisonous stuff. There's, they had to invent a situation where the biggest, most visual spider in the Western Hemisphere ended up in Jan's backpack. And it's never really addressed. But like, you don't need to worry. If you're coming with us to Hawaii, there's a very low chance you're going to find a tarantula in your bag.
No tarantulas in your bags. See, just put that in the pro column of why you're coming to Hawaii this Thanksgiving. Getting away from your family, getting away from the cold, going to Hawaii, hanging out with some new friends, some old friends, and no spiders. No tarantulas, at least.
So the middle child ends up with the taboo.
Yeah.
He gets it from Jan and kind of falls asleep with it.
Yep.
Wakes up, tarantula on his chest. This thing is bringing some bad mojo.
Yeah. He's here's a joke you won't get. This tarantula is more cursed than Oliver. See, Thomas, if you watch the series, that would have just killed. I mean, we could put a laugh track in right now, but we don't need it because everybody listening or watching at home knows, if they're a Brady fan, they know that that's hilarious. But yes, a lot of mileage out of these 8 little legs. A lot of mileage.
Yeah, and we're coming to the end of the spider arc.
Yeah. Sadly,
they end up knocking it off of his chest. Dad comes in and is like, "Hey, we just need to put this thing outside," and very calmly gets a little bag, scoots the spider in there, and I think he even makes mention like, "It's a good thing your mother's not here. She would hate this."
She hates spiders, yeah.
And then he takes the bag with the spider into his room, and his wife thinks that it's a jewelry gift she asked, like has been dropping hints that she would like.
God. Oh God.
And I mean, just very not so subtly kind of demanding, like, this trip is great, but get me some bling.
Need some
get
bling,
me some
baby.
jewels.
Yeah.
Because you know how women love jewelry.
Women be shopping.
Women be shopping.
Women be shopping.
So women like jewelry. Dudes horny.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the basic MO for these character arcs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those were the original lyrics to the theme song. They did have to change them because of the censors.
Women be shopping. This guy is horny.
Yep. Yeah.
And he used it to make 3 boys of his own.
Boom. They got a lot of kids. Yeah.
Yeah, they're making babies out there. Maybe he is horny. I don't know. It makes sense. There's a lot of kids around.
Yeah.
But anyways, after being like, it's a good thing your mother isn't here, he brings it in there, and then instead of admitting he didn't get her jewelry, he just lets her open it.
Yeah. All right, here you go.
Big spider in the room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was not the pendant she was hoping for, Chip.
No, it was not. And I a little comeuppance, I think. I think he took some pride in doing that. He got a little like, shut up about the coral bracelet. I'm going to get you the goddamn pendant. Here's a goddamn spider. Go to sleep. Shut up, Carol. Yeah.
So this is
And
I
feel bad for her because it's like obviously those are the writers, but like it's just the more you watch it, the more you realize that it's just like this cute back and forth banter that this husband and wife had for 5 seasons is it is some like I watched it so much as a kid and I was like, oh, they have a great relationship, and it's just the most tedious banter I've. Just watching it again as an adult, as somebody who's been, writing for TV now, it's just like, oh, this is horrific, and it's the same thing over and over again too. And then to watch A Very Brady Christmas, which happens 20 years later, to know that they're alone in the house and they're still talking like this is exhausting.
The whole thing's super exhausting, and we're about to get to the point where we once again just have a big spotlight showing on the fact that girls are just there because they happen to be there.
Absolutely.
And this is a man's world. This is a boys' trip. I know for like just in my mind, I can see it. Somebody's like, we've got to get these girls involved somehow in the plot.
Yeah.
In the plot of what's going on. They went on a picnic. They picked up a spider. They brought it back. The boys have to deal with that. And now for the next leg of the episode, how are we going to get them involved? Yeah. Well, we're going to have Greg go to his sisters and say, I have a plan. They found out that the taboo was cursed. A local man gave them some background on it, thanks to the guide saying you need to go talk to this guy if you believe this stuff is true. He says the taboo is very powerful. It's magical. Anybody who touches it is going to have troubles unless they put it back in its rightful spot next to the tomb of the dead king or the dead chief that it was like meant to protect. So he told them like to this sacred haunted place to go to, and they needed to do it or else they were going to be cursed forever, basically. Yeah. So in order to get the girls involved, Greg goes and says, hey, sisters, we need you. Sisters, we need, a very trainish way of starting a conversation. We need you to cover for us while we go do this thing. And they're like, okay. And that's their involvement in the big caper that we're moving on to.
And they're just done. That's the last time you see them that episode.
And it's also funny because like, we need you to cover for us. We need you to tell them that we're just out sightseeing. And it's like, you could have just told them that you're out sightseeing. Yeah. If that's an option, just do that. You don't need to bring them into this.
Yeah. I'm so glad that these 3 boys did not grow up to join the CIA. They'd just be telling everybody. Just all their plans. Yeah.
Yeah. And unnecessary, like, loose lips, sinking ships.
Yep.
And really not getting him any better result. But this sends them on their way. They get to the other side of the island. They find this area. At one point in time, they get worried about, like, we're deep in the woods. Like, how are we going to find our way back? They decide to use Bobby's popcorn as, like, a Hansel and Gretel breadcrumb situation. And then they finally find an ominous cave, and they wander inside it. And as they're wandering inside it, music is getting more and more intense, and you see a man following them in.
Like the back of a man. Like just a lumbering, like Manos Hands of Fate, lumbering, ominous. And like he even like walks into camera frame like when you're not expecting him, just the back of him. And it's pretty horrifying.
It's pretty horrifying. And then they take special care, I think, to make sure that you notice that this man's clothes are not clean.
No.
So this is kind of where we end the episode. It's a cliffhanger. We don't know, at least I don't know, I haven't seen it before, what's going to happen. Is this guy friendly? Is he a murderous psychopath? I think it appeared to be a white man.
Yes.
Like just it kind of, and I'm just like, is this an unhoused person? Is this a crazy person? Is this somebody that got lost in the forest and is just looking for people? But he is definitely following them silently into a cave that we're not sure they're going to be able to get out of.
No. And And by the way, you finally do see his face. And for any Hollywood fans, you realize that it is the face of Mr. Vincent Price, famed horror star of House of Wax and House on Haunted Hill, all the houses once, and of course he went on to. Do you know what Vincent Price's probably biggest fame in the '80s was? His
I
voice.
only know him because Bill Hader did an impression of him on SNL.
Yeah. Well, he's also the guy that does the scary vocals in Michael Jackson's Thriller, like that.
That's a great vocal.
Hounds of Hell, like that. Like that's Vincent Price doing that, and then the laugh at the end. Ah ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
That is Vincent Price, the man in the cave.
Oh, that's a creepy dude. I like it.
That is a creepy dude who, of horror fame. So you're just like,
knowing what we know now, who's a creepier dude, Michael Jackson or Vincent Price?
I mean, for following three boys into a cave, knowing what we know now, I'm gonna take my chance with the tarantulas, with the tarantulas that are native to Hawaii, just all over the place. I would take my chances with those.
Over Michael or Vincent.
Over Michael or Vincent, yeah.
But I do think at this point in time, being followed into a cave by Vincent Price or Michael Jackson as three young boys, I got to take Price.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because Price is a little more lumbering too. Jackson was agile up until the end.
Oh yeah, no, I mean he's a dancer.
Yeah,
that's reflexes.
He's moonwalking through those things. He's yelling. He can do that thing where like they're in one cave, right? But he just like leans over at a 45-degree angle and then just comes right back and like leans over, grabs Bobby, picks him up. The man's versatile. And
I mean, for the love of God, the kicks, Chip.
Yeah.
You're telling me this guy wasn't doing any kind of martial arts training? The kicks.
The kicks were just incredible. Yeah. So this is, you'd have to take Vincent Price. You'd have to.
Yeah. The price is right.
The price is certainly right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So that brings some good context, because I did not know this is a famous person. I didn't know he's a horror icon.
Yeah.
I didn't know that just his face at this time sets an expectation, sets a tone. Mm-hmm. VP is in the house. I mean, y'all better watch out.
Being a 9-year-old child in 1972-ish, whenever 72, 73, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And just, first of all, knowing last Friday was Greg almost died on a surfboard. You finally recover from that. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, all right, everything's smooth sailing again, because literally this is one of the most bubblegum shows on earth. And then all of a sudden at the end, not only Greg but the other two boys are in the cave, and now Vincent Price is going to murder them.
I think this would have like terrible ramifications on the tourism industry in general in Hawaii for a while. Like, you see all these bad things happening. It's a cursed land. The locals don't believe in it, but we're seeing this is clearly a cursed object. But the one thing that general population, especially at that time, seemed to have is everybody was too horny to care. Because there's bikinis on those beaches. Mm-hmm. You're gonna, you've got hula instructors that are absolute 12 and a halves.
Yeah.
And you're going to get kissed on the cheek by a beautiful local woman wearing a bikini and a skirt the second you get off that plane.
Right.
It's a lot for a perv to love.
Exactly. So then it's like you hear those stories about they brought in mongoose to get rid of the snakes.
Yeah.
It's like they got Vincent Price to get rid of the pervs. Like that's kind of what
he drove the pervs out of Hawaii.
He drove the pervs out of Hawaii, but now Hawaii is overrun by Vincent Prices. A lot of Vincent Price is just running around going, "Yes, well, I do love this poke bowl," and it's but there is a lot of charm to that. Okay. If I could
there's a lot of specificity to that. I don't know if it's charm.
I'll call it charm. If I could go to imagine somebody sells you go to a travel agent, because they still exist. You go to a travel agent and you're like, I want to go somewhere. and they're like, maybe somewhere tropical. I'm Thomas O'Brien. You
Yeah.
all know me from the Sunburnt Podcast.
Uh-huh.
We're going to avoid Hawaii this year. We just want to go somewhere different. As much as we love it,
Yeah.
we're going to try. Maybe it's going to be the Caribbean. Maybe it's going to be the Maldives or whatever you call it. Whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Tahiti. And then somebody's like, we got a great spot for you. It's
Yeah.
an island, but it's just overrun by Vincent Price impersonators. Everybody you meet is Vincent Price,
Yeah.
except you and your wife and your child.
Yeah.
The price is actually pretty reasonable compared to all this stuff. Flight is great, easy to get to. The accommodations are 5-star, but everybody there on that island besides you is Vincent Price. Do you go?
Well, it depends on one key piece of information.
Okay.
Do I visibly recognize this travel agent as Nathan Fielder? Because it sounds like that's a classic setup for something he'd be getting into. It's like, it's a great deal, but everybody there is Vincent Price. They think they're Vincent Price.
That is true. By the way, not to get too off topic, but hey, it's a podcast. That's what people do on podcasts. Apparently, did you see this story? And I haven't looked into it too much, so I don't know how true it is. He has visited the woman in prison. Did you hear about Nathan Fielder? Is it Elizabeth? What
Holmes? I did see a headline about this.
Yes, he's apparently been visiting the Thanos lady with the deep voice in prison. Nathan Fielder has been visiting her. It's a fly on a wall right there to be to understand what's happening with that conversation. Unless it's just a conjugal visit and they're not doing too much talking. We don't know. We don't know, Thomas.
She's a married woman, Chip, of high moral integrity. I doubt it's a conjugal. But yeah, I can't even imagine what he's getting up to, but I am very excited to see it.
Yeah.
Nathan for You was when that came out, that was my favorite thing that was on TV for years.
That's something that you and I and Nick and Joe from Found Footage, like we all bonded over because it was right around that time. That's when we started. That's when we all met on the TV show, that first TV show, and I didn't know what it was, and you guys were like, well, you're missing this. You Brady Bunched me. You're like, you've never seen Nathan for You, I was like, well, it hasn't been out for 50 years in syndication, so I feel like I had an excuse, but I started watching it, and man, it's one of my all timers. It is so.
It's great, but you were also watching it on Pluto TV, so I missed
a lot of those scenes.
It was clear there was a lot of scenes cut out.
He's just a helpful boy. That's what I glean from this show. Yeah,
he's got some wacky ideas, but he's mostly well-meaning. And then it kind of seemed like you just got to the end where they said thank you.
Yes.
So you're just like, these guys are really into helping small businesses with wacky ideas.
Yeah, he seems, it's a win-win. If I could tell you a quick story about this past Christmas, my buddy Timmy has a tour company in Philadelphia, the Trolley Tours, Founding Footsteps. They're great. They're BYOB tours. He does all different types. I help him with them sometimes. We're doing a comedy tour later this month where we just stand-up comedians on a trolley driving through the city. It's crazy. It's fun. He's doing a mob tour that I helped write, and all these things. But his bread and butter every year, he does the Christmas lights tour. And it's great. So he just takes you on this trolley. You're drinking bevies and listening to live Christmas music and driving around the city looking at all the crazy lights in Philadelphia. It's so much fun. So he always takes us on because I help him with it. So one of the stops is right down the street from where Kim and I live. So they stop at this bar and they let people use the bathroom, drink and all. And so we were going to pick up the trolley there. So we're sitting there. And it's a little corner bar that we go to, but it's quiet. It's just overrun with tourists. Everybody's in their Christmas gear. And I'm kind of annoyed. I'm kind of like, this is just our quiet corner bar. And it's going crazy. And some young guy comes up to me and goes, yo. And I was like, what? Like, what? What? And he goes, I love your jacket, man. It was my Summit Ice jacket that I was wearing from Nathan for You. Deny Nothing, Summit Ice. And he's like, I love Nathan for You. That's such a cool jacket. And it was like, it was my Christmas moment of the year. It was my very Brady Christmas at that moment. All right, somebody else saw Nathan for You. They appreciate it. And it made my holiday season.
No, I mean that's a tremendous story, and I love that you have that jacket. The Summit Ice was a classic,
Yeah.
a classic piece of apparel from the golden years of Hollywood, as far as I'm concerned.
The golden year. Yeah, 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I think that kind of takes us to the end of this episode of the Brady Bunch.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to the next episode next time.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say something really quick. Speaking of quick stories, this is the first podcast we've done since learning of the passing of Val Kilmer.
Oh, I know. I woke up to that this morning.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, so
I mean,
it's
beach volleyball legend.
an all-time legend.
Yeah.
Truly a great guy. I did have one quick story of Val Kilmer that I'll just throw out there really quick. It's not that I knew him or anything, but like before I even moved to Hollywood, before I did any of that stuff, when I was like 22 or 23, I took a trip to New York City, and Val Kilmer like just kind of helped kick off like one of the most like crazy adventure nights I'd ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy, we met these girls from Old Miss. They were there having like a sorority reunion.
Of course they were.
And they were like, come over. We've got this room booked. You can come hang out with us, meet like our sorority sisters. And we went to the hotel. And when the people who had booked the room before they got it, like all these rich businessmen and for some reason like celebrities and stuff, saw all these girls walking in who were like kind of fresh out of college, I guess.
Right.
They just stuck around. So the room didn't clear out. I couldn't even go into like the place where this party was supposed to happen.
Is this it's kind of like a ballroom kind of situation?
I really don't know. It's like a hotel lobby and then probably like an event space or something off to the corner. So I'm stuck in the lobby. But these girls are there, so we're talking to them. But like when we show up, they're at this table, and there's like kind of two horseshoe tables, like back to back, two booths of these people that are all kind of together, and they're sitting with like this former #1 tennis player in the world. Like his name escapes me. I always say the wrong one. People use that to fact check the story and say it's bullcrap.
Okay.
But so there's like this tennis player there. And then on the other side of the horseshoe is like Val Kilmer and some more of these girls.
Wow.
So
the Iceman.
The Iceman himself is just kind of right there. And like I don't know that I'd ever seen like a famous person in real life before. It gets in my head like I don't know how to talk to these people. I don't know how to interact with these people, but I do know that people buy people drinks. So like there's these famous people, there's all these girls, and I just come in there. I want to like be part of the party, get the party started. I offer to buy a round.
Oh no.
So I get a round of drinks for the table. I'm not even sure what he ordered, or if he ordered like I'm just like I want to get Val Kilmer a drink.
Of course.
So I order a round, but here's the thing, Chip. I don't even know what these drinks cost, and I know I do not have a ton of money. Like I'm working on a debit card at the time,
right?
And this vacation was already like pretty expensive. Everybody orders the drinks, and as the time is feeling right, I'm like I need to go up to the cashier and pay for this at the desk just to make sure if it does get declined or whatever, it's not right here in front of all these people.
In broad daylight, yeah. The hottest girls you've ever met and Val Kilmer.
Yeah, the hottest person I've ever met, period.
Yeah.
So I go up to pay for the drinks. I give him my card. The woman kind of goes back around the corner to run it. It's taking too long.
That's not a good sign.
It is taking too long. I kind of like wander like over down this hallway a little bit. There's some art on the walls, and I'm looking at the art, and somebody comes up right behind me, hugs me, and kisses me on the cheek.
Okay.
And it's just this beautiful woman. I turn around and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought you were my boyfriend." And I'm like, no problem, no worries. And right then, like out of this bathroom, there's a bathroom kind of the main dude from Entourage walks by.
Oh God.
And they like leave arm in arm outside of that building.
You got mistaken from Adrian
from behind for Vinny Chase.
Vinny Chase.
Grenier. Yeah.
Wow, that's got to feel good.
I mean, it does a lot for the ego, but also I'm sitting there waiting for my credit card or my debit card to get declined for these drinks.
Right.
And the woman comes back around the corner. I walk over there after having like this very strange interaction. And she goes, this isn't going to work, right? And I'm just like, oh, no. And she's like, you get to drink here for free forever. Or like, and I was like, yeah? And she's like, thank you so much for the renovations you did to the lobby. It looks amazing. And this is totally on us. You know that. And somebody named Thomas O'Brien had redecorated the lobby of this hotel.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I went back and opened that tab up for everybody. But yeah, it was such a bizarre coincidence. And it's like since then, like he's like a noted designer. He had like a line at Target, I think, with like bath towels and all this stuff. Thomas O'Brien, like all these things. And he had just apparently like done a fresh remodel on the spot, made it hip, made it cool, made it a spot all the celebrities wanted to come to. And we had the same name, and it must have just I can only imagine what was going on back there, but it must have just been a list of like people who get special privileges, and it said Thomas O'Brien, and she was like, oh, Thomas O'Brien.
Oh my God.
I can't explain it one way or the other, but the story gets wilder, and I'll spare everybody the rest of it.
I want to hear this.
Obviously, I hang out there as long as we can.
Yeah.
We've got free
Are you
drinks.
drinking on that tab?
Oh yeah. We're the whole day. Everybody's going for it. It's on me. And before the night's over, that girl who kissed me and left with the Entourage guy comes back, and she's crying. And they had just broken up.
Oh.
And it was some weird thing. Like I think she kind of worked there, like an early version of an influencer. Like her job was to make sure the place was popping, and there was like famous people around or whatever. And I just like went over and I was like, hey, how are you doing? Everything okay? And she's like, yeah, just like, kind of we broke up, or I don't know if they were together or she thought they were together. I have no clue. But it wasn't working out with him. The night went south with him. And then she like, as a local, took me and my buddy all around the city until like 6 a.m. Like we were in like underground basement bars that you had to know passwords for, and like all these kinds of things that when I actually moved to New York later, like I never did any of that stuff. Like that was not my scene, but we were going down multiple stairways into like the heart of Manhattan to these weird little room clubs with like the coolest looking people and the coolest music and all that kind of stuff. It was just like this whirlwind experience that all started because I felt compelled to buy Val Kilmer a drink.
Oh, amazing. You just wanted to impress the Iceman.
And boy, what could impress a major A-list celebrity more than a 22-year-old little poor boy spending $17 on a beverage with their name on it?
Unbelievable. Man.
Yeah.
What a great story, and what a great loss we had today.
Mr. That's a bummer. Yeah. So, R.I.P. Val.
May he be in a horseshoe booth with a bunch of sorority girls in the sky right now.
Absolutely. And I think with that, Chip, that's the end of the episode. Do you got anything coming up that people need to know about?
Please just follow me at Chip Chantry on all of the things. So make sure you do that, and make sure you follow us at Sunburnt Podcast, at Sunburnt Pod, right?
Sunburnt Pod, at Sunburnt Pod on all things. And please only follow if this is truly something you're interested in. If you love tropical vacations, you love comedy, and you have the ability to tolerate us following all those things. We're trying to we don't want a ton of followers. We want the right ones, specific people to be involved in this thing for a lot of reasons. So if that's you, subscribe or whatever it is, and we'll talk soon, guys. front desk.
Hi, this is Mr. Chantry in room 308. I was wondering if there were any messages for me.
I don't see any messages for Mr. Chantry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any messages for the Emerald Falcon?
Oh, there are actually a bunch of them, and a number of them seem to be threats.
That's me. Send them up.